Thank you for joining this webinar on the ProDVX API. In this webinar, we would like to touch the following subjects. What is the ProDVX API? Why did we create this API? What are the benefits for all stakeholders? And how can I start using it? First, let me explain what a REST API is and how ProDVX implemented the REST API in our products. According to the definition of a REST API, it's an interface to communicate between different software systems. It follows a set of rules that make it easy to understand and to work with. You can use it to do things like getting information, get new data, update existing data, or delete data. It's like a universal language for computers to communicate and share information. Look at the example image, where a customer is requesting some food. The waiter talks to the customer and translates this request into an instruction to the kitchen. The chef prepares food, gives it to the waiter, where the waiter serves it to the customer. In this example, the waiter is the API. So here we replaced the customer, the waiter, and the kitchen with relevant items. So ProDVX API implementation is a generic interface towards the various layers inside the ProDVX equipment, with basically two main functions: system access and model agnostic implementation. For the system access topic, I can say the following. We will organize another webinar about security that will include some discussion about rooted access, but in short, the ProDVX API will give secure access to a specific system parts, such as the LED controller, without having your application signed with system or getting root access. A model agnostic implementation means something like the implementation in a hardware agnostic manner. This means that the software implementation could be identical across all ProDVX Android models. So why did ProDVX create the API? Well, most customers are always requesting the very latest version of Android. Software companies have a hard time following this rapid development and the changes on existing features. Android security is increasing with every iteration. ProDVX is also working together with the SoC manufacturers in order to provide better performance with more energy efficiency. With the introduction of new hardware platforms, such as our latest edition, the quad-core A55, and a more energy efficient but slightly brighter LED ring on the new SLB series, the interface to control these features has unfortunately also changed a bit. So besides the ability for using system features without signed application, this unified platform interface is another reason for ProDVX to implement a generic REST API across the whole range of Android products. So now customer just selects a ProDVX device and all software implementation will be the same, independent of the actual hardware choice. This is a so-called unified implementation. So what are the benefits of the ProDVX API? Well, ongoing development and maturity. ProDVX keep developing on new platforms and features and will make the existing more mature. Access to device information and status. Well, through the API, various informations from the device become available. Access to system functions. The API makes system functions available. Even without having your application signed for system access, the API can expose these features. Remote and local development. Well, the API is available on the local device, but also remotely if required. Unified access to controllers. All exposed controllers can be accessed through the same structured way across the whole range. We said that before. It's now hardware model independent. All devices use the same interface. On the inside, there are many differences, but on the API will translate these into a unified communication towards the application in use. We use HTTP protocols. It's reachable throughout all standard HTTP protocols. Additional security with encrypted tokens. Well, with all these powerful tools, security of course becomes more important. Hence the fact that ProDVX created a nice security layer on top of the API. The API is only available with encrypted tokens. The software developer can generate a dedicated token for the applications, and these tokens are not stored anywhere. So for security reasons, these are dedicated for this partner. ProDVX provides, of course, the tools for generating these tokens. So how can I use the ProDVX API? Well, of course, the API will be distributed with a detailed description of all endpoints, as you can see here, and the process of generating the private key and associated token. This is the overview of the endpoints in the API. As a demonstration, we will send an HTTP GET request with the token embedded. And for this example, we assume the token has already been generated and the private key has been installed on the device. If you want more information on that part, we kindly ask you to contact your account manager for more information. Sending the request on an HTTP port on the device will result in the LED bar to light up. Please note that we use the previous APPC 10 SLB, actually the SLB-E, model for this example. This is just to show that it is not limited to the new range of products. So first we will give an instruction that will make the LEDs blue. And then we send the instruction to make them purple. This is the SLB-E, so we can do a lot of fun things with it. Let's make it a rainbow. And I already said it's the SLB-E with a lot of fun things, so we can also do it two-sided. And last but not least, we can switch them off again. Hopefully I have now triggered your interest. So what is the next step? Starting in Q2, all new Android models from ProDVX will have the API application pre-installed in the firmware. For early development, ProDVX have an installation and activation procedure available on request. So for more information and also a demo, please contact your ProDVX account manager. Thank you for your attention. I hope I have triggered your interest. We will now answer your questions raised during this presentation. And of course, you can also contact your account manager later if you have additional or specific questions.